the interesting thing is all of the private equity guys that we've spoken with, men and women, because we've spoken with a diverse group of people here, have said that prices are high. You know, they've got so much money to put to work. They're paying higher prices for stuff. Is that good for a VC person like you because they end up picking your stuff up?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because actually you've seen in the European venture community actually almost an arbitrage between the US and Asia, with European assets being really very cheap. So there's opportunities as we see our businesses growing, you know, with the private equity guys.
What do you think about, you know, there's been this sense of everyone at this conference wants to convince me, our viewers themselves maybe, that the economy is still doing well and powering on full steam ahead. Is that a red flag?
I think there's always going to be, you know, bumps in the road as we look forward. But, you know, from my perspective, investing in technology, if you think about it, every business is transforming to become a technology business of some format. And that's exciting as you get really core technologies being embedded into the way we live our lives.
How important is the economy actually to someone in your business? I guess you invest £1 million, £25 million, £50 million in businesses that are going to do well regardless of, you know, the underlying economy.
That's a really good point, because the business we're investing in, we're looking to, you know, either be disruptive or bring completely new business process or products to market. So actually their disruption is often taking away from traditional businesses. So the overall economy doesn't really affect them. And actually, as larger businesses retrench, there's a great opportunity for these high growth businesses.
So where are you finding the best opportunity? We love to, here in Berlin, think of ourselves as a hub of startups and new businesses, venture capital, but they're all over Europe, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the areas that we're particularly interested in today are that sort of crossover of hardware and software. So thinking about, you know, we hear a lot about artificial intelligence, but for us, looking at, say, robotics and artificial intelligence, really interesting area. Another area that, you know, we're particularly focused on is that crossover of digital and health. How can we use these new digital systems to empower and actually scale up our healthcare system to avoid people actually going into hospital in the first place?
So what do you think the next big thing is? I mean, what's going to be your home run at Octopus?
Well, let's stick with regards to the health side. We have a business that is both in Europe and also in the Valley called Big Health, looking to use cognitive behavior therapy in the way in which you can treat patients with insomnia and then other mental aspects. So that business is, how do you scale what a therapist would otherwise provide? And they've been able to prove you know, that their system is clinically proven to be much, much better than drugs.
Good. I'm starting to get the feeling everybody over 40 has insomnia. Certainly everyone at this network. Let me ask you about the fundraising, because the private equity side at this conference has said fundraising is the best it's been in history. I mean, they've raised $3 trillion in 5 years. How is it for VC?
Yeah, I think the VC angle is, you know, has been different for a long time. The words European venture capital didn't necessarily go together, but we're now seeing the returns come through. What we're lacking in Europe are a number of funds who are able to invest in those growth businesses, so they're often still loss-making or just approaching break-even, and in the number of funds that can write checks of $20, $25 million, and, you know, that's being filled by some US houses who are coming in. But we expect to see that gap get filled over time, and that's because we can see great entrepreneurs building big businesses here.
You mentioned Europe a couple of times, but you're not from Europe, or you won't be soon. Is Brexit going to have any effect on you as a business based in London that invests in a lot of European startups?
Brexit is going to have an effect, but if you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in Europe or you're in the UK, Brexit is just another challenge to overcome. You know, landing those first sales, building your markets out, looking at that international expansion. And if you think about it from a European perspective, we grow up knowing we've got to internationalize, whereas the US or the Chinese can just address one market. And that gives us a longer-term competitive advantage.